The next 2 weeks promise to be unchecked pandemonium. It's going to be insane. We've got a tidal wave of earnings coming. We've got the election on Tuesday and whatever aftermath from that. We've got the FOMC on Wednesday/Thursday, as opposed to its normal Tuesday/Wednesday because of the election, I suppose. The amount of attention they get on Thursday is unknown at this time. It kind of depends on what else is going on. And who knows what else might happen that isn't on the schedule. So yeah, this will not be dull. I've got my charts fired up for you. This is like a pattern. The market's up across the board, but my all short portfolio is still hanging in there. It's climbing a little bit each day, God bless it. Here's the spider. It is so simple on this. This trend line, this trend line, this trend line. This is what we need to watch. We got one on the cubes as well. You break it, and then things could get interesting. As it is now, ever since the August 5th low, it has steadfastly climbed and stayed obediently above it. It threatens it day after day, but it never quite breaks it. I would also mention, because we've gone from never talking about China to always talking about China, I'm going to go back to never again. Because what happened here, and this is the Hang Seng index, I was looking for this gap to provide support, and it did. There's the gap right there. We just about nailed it to the penny right here, and we have done nothing since. So I have been bored to tears with this, and so I took my last Chinese bearish play, PDD, took my profits and said thank you, and off it went. So it's boring me to death, so I'm done. Won't be talking about China for a while, unless it gets exciting again. So suffice it to say, no positions left. They all worked out. And yeah, it's become a snooze fest. So no, thank you. What wasn't a snooze fest was the one place I was really looking for some action, which is energy. The reason, of course, was that the Israeli attack against Iran was not as bad as people thought. It didn't target energy facilities. And based upon something not happening, there's a sigh of relief. And so as I glance over here at the crude oil front month, it's down about 6%, which is roughly where it's been all day. And for a long time here, crude oil has been engaged in a series of progressively lower highs with less and less drama, like bang, 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 all the way down. So every time it pops, it's like, okay, well, I'll get short again. So it's not a very dynamic market anymore. I mean, this wild chaos seems to have been supplanted by, a couple of dollars here, a couple of dollars there, but it's okay because energy shorts are working out. You can see this differently by way of USO. Itself down 5.62%. And so, yeah, you can see here from this peak back in April, just lower high, and then even in sort of the shorter term, like so. And so this is a new gap anchored to Friday's low, and whoosh, down it goes. And so the three positions that I've got in energy, which I've mentioned every show for a long time now, almost every day last week, I think. These are doing nicely, and I'm hanging on to them because I don't think we're done with this. But here's APA down 4.5%, and in each case, a nice new gap formed right near the lows of the day right there. Occidental, OXY, zooming in, and here, got another little gap. And this is a pattern within a pattern. The first one is this fella right here, which is a massive overhead supply that we've broken beneath. And then the kind of mega pattern is like so. And so this is just a little pipsqueak portion of the this mass right here. So like I say, these tend to be January puts, 82 days left on them, I think. And so I'm just sticking with them. And of course, Schlumberger SLB, which I've lightened up on some, but it's still, I think, a terrific longer-term energy play on the bear side. So yeah, lots of good stuff going on with energy. What's energy related, which is going quite the opposite direction, is once again, Aqualove. This has been a sensation. So we had, this is a SPAC offering. It went zipping higher, as all SPACs tend to collapse, but in sharp contrast, just about every SPAC out there, it has since met with a success heretofore unseen, because let's zoom in here on this. So it went from the traditional like $10 shtick, got to almost double that, and then just fell completely to pieces, down to about $5. Well, it's at about 400% higher than that right now, just in the span of, well, last month. I mean, September, it was around $5, and here we are in October, and it's about $25. So it's just been absolutely amazing lift. There's the volume to go along with it, and along the way, it's dipped and dipped and dipped, but each time seems answered with another big rally. So this is a nuclear energy focused and a real beneficiary of the AI trade. Oddly, the king of all AI trades is become really dull lately. NVIDIA is on this very green day down a little bit. It seems to have found a happy home up here around its former lifetime high. And as I've mentioned, earnings on this are weeks away, unlike everything else out there. Although interestingly, one beneficiary of NVIDIA's success, Serve Robotics, which had this big pop and kind of died down, looks like a new lease on life here, getting another revival of the excitement around that, of about 30% today on SCRV. And another interesting chart here is ARM Holdings, ARM, which has had these two rounded tops, neither of which really did too much of anything, because in each case we had this rally like so. And another twist on this one is this broken trend line right here. We happen to be exactly at the bottom of that broken trend line. This might be an interesting place to consider a bearish play on this, because we have recovered over the past 3 trading days and we're mushed right up against that broken trend line. So food for thought. Could be an opportunity for you on ARM. There's an election, I hear, next week, and one stock which has a very direct interest in that has been exploding lately. It bottomed on September 24. A month later, this is 300% higher, something like that. It has gone from sub-teens. It was like 11.75. Right now, it's almost 50. So this has been just blasting higher. And today, on the heels of what I would suppose is just gaining momentum politically, it's just ripping higher again. It's not quite at lifetime highs, but it certainly has undone this collapse that got so much media attention before September 24 and leading up to it. Tesla is a big question mark right now, because on the one hand, of course, it had a fantastic Thursday and Friday last week. Today, it added to those gains, but now it's starting to burn off some. We had gotten, for the first time in months, up above 270. I mean, did we even get it here? Yeah, the last time we were there was way back on July 11, and that was for a day. So we managed to get back there, but we are selling off some now. And so this trio of Fibonacci's is our new happy home, right around 260, 250 or so. I would say that's strong support. And I believe that, assuming the election goes Musk's way on Tuesday, that we could see this approaching $400 before June of next year. Sounds crazy, but that's what I'd like to suggest. A lot of earnings this week, as I said, just monsters everywhere you turn. Alphabet is one of them. That's the topping pattern on that. AMD is just kind of a mess. I don't have a position. This is a very messy chart, but that'll be very important on Tuesday, I believe, to watch that after the close. On Wednesday, this is all from memory, but I believe it's Wednesday. Microsoft also reports, as does Meta, META, which is right near lifetime highs right now. And then Apple on Thursday. I'm not going to show that. It's just Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday afternoons, all crammed with fantastically important earnings on that. And it all really plays into our friend the trend line. Once again, there it is, just like the spider at the top of the program. That is the key level of support. Some other mentions here on the side, some other positions I've still got going. This one I mention almost every day because I'm just so captivated by it. Novo Nordisk, NVO, pulling away nicely from that Head and Shoulders top. They just so happen to have their earnings report and a conference call on next Wednesday morning, which I think may be a morning that has a lot of attention directed elsewhere. So I don't think they're going to get much in the way of listening, but fingers crossed that we get a nice dip on that one. So that's NVO. Royal Caribbean RCL. This was strong this morning, reached a lifetime high, but did ease away from that. I'm holding my puts on this one. Got a bit of a scare at all this strength, but it seems to have burned off some of that. We shall see on RCL. And a new one for me, I don't know if I've ever traded this before in my life, United, UAL, based upon this price gap, which was way, way, way back here 4 years ago, almost 5 years ago. And this blast we've had recently has sealed that gap nicely. So I got January puts on that earlier today. Let's see, here's some real odd ones for you. This is just what I wanted to illustrate here, is how the kind of emergency measures the federal government did in recent years have been winding down, which is they're supposed to do. This was the big bank bailout back in March of 2023, and this is the amount borrowed, and that's been burning off. And I think it's supposed to be fully paid off by this forthcoming March. So just a few months left, that should zero out. This is the reverse repo, which, as many articles as I've read, I'm not going to pretend to understand the plumbing behind this, but it's also approaching normality. The Fed total assets, which has been, this is the quantitative ostensibly tightening going on, which has been moving at pace. The only exception was that bank bailout that I mentioned. That was a brief exception, but on the whole, it has been continuing the decline. Although, the big picture still shows the Fed holding, $7 trillion in assets in the big quantitative easing program. So they've really just unwound a tidbit of that. Like I say, strap in. This is going to be an amazing 2 weeks. So I'll see you here day to day, and we'll pick it up again tomorrow. Thanks. Bye-bye.